Welcome back to Hannity. The U.S. military is pushing against a very disturbing report that American soldiers were in fact told to ignore the rampant sexual abuse of young boys by Afghan officers and soldiers on U.S. bases in that country. Now, the New York Times published a story this past weekend where current and former U.S. military members described the horrific acts being committed by our Afghan allies, and they revealed how they face career-ending consequences for speaking out against the abuse. Military officials are denying that there is a policy in place that prevents soldiers from reporting these criminal acts. The top U.S. commander in Afghanistan, Army General John Campbell, issued a statement yesterday, writing in part, quote, "I personally have served multiple tours of duty in Afghanistan and am absolutely confident that no such theater policy has ever existed here, and certainly no such policy has existed throughout my tenure as commander." Here with reaction, Fox News military analyst, Lieutenant Colonel David Hunt, Lieutenant Colonel Bill Cowan. Gentlemen, I have heard this report myself. We have discussed it on this program before. Do you believe, Colonel Hunt, this is true?
Oh, it's absolutely true. It's been true for 12 years in both Iraq and Afghanistan. The issue here is quite clear. General Campbell is technically correct. There is no policy that says you cannot prevent. There's also not a policy to prevent. It's absolutely ridiculous. What happened is a Special Forces captain named Kane and a Sergeant First Class named Montrell actually stopped a police captain in Afghanistan on a military base from raping a young boy.
But listen, I don't want to question the integrity
in Iraq.
I don't want to question the integrity of Mr. Campbell. Maybe he doesn't know.
Whoa, John. I'm saying what he's saying is technically accurate. The problem is a dodge. There is no policy that says you can't prevent.
But it's happening.
The point is there's no policy at all. There's no policy.
Colonel
Cowan? What happened is it's been going on in Afghanistan and Iraq, and it's got to stop.
No written policy.
We're complicit in this.
Colonel Cowan? Go ahead.
They're all right, Sean. There's no written policy. It's an unwritten policy. It goes without saying, and that's evidenced by what Captain Dan Quinn and Sergeant Charles Martland, what happened to both of them. It's evidenced by that young Lance Corporal who lost his life when one of those boys who was being abused killed him and two other Marines, and God bless him and his father for standing up and saying something. This story's been sitting in the depths for a long time waiting to come out, and the question, when people look at this, the question is, what the hell are we doing in Afghanistan if that's a culture we're trying to help save from the Taliban?
I am aghast, because I know there's not one soldier that would find this acceptable. So if it wasn't a written law, was it an unwritten rule that your career is going to blow up if in fact you say anything?
Yes. That the point
Sean, it had to be, and that happens.
All right, Colonel Hunt, go ahead.
The point Bill and I are making is, yes, unwritten, but there's no policy to prevent. Look, we took over these countries and trained their military, their police, and their governments. And what happened here in this particular case was on a U.S. military compound. We're complicit in this. And the fact that the chain of command, starting with a four-star general, wants to say there's no policy that prevents is dodging the issue. There's no policy that says you should stop, you must stop. We have been looking at this for 12 years in two occupations, the rape of boys and girls on military compounds by our alleged allies who were there to help, and it's criminal. And what's happened is a captain and a sergeant, instead of being promoted, are being thrown out of the military for it. And as Bill said, we've had Marines killed because of this.
Bill Cowan, we'll give you the last word. Colonel.
Guilt by association, Sean. Our U.S. forces are on those bases. Those things are happening. This is an abject failure of leadership from the lower levels of command all the way to the top. They knew this was going on, and nobody stepped up and said, you Afghans better get it right. We're giving you trillions of dollars. We're investing American lives in you. You better make some changes to some things. Nobody in that chain of command stood up to the Afghans and said, we're not accepting this because you're making us part of it.
All right, that takes my breath away.
And still aren't.
Yeah, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Thank you both. Appreciate it. When we come back, shootings, murders in Chicago, 49 shootings this weekend, skyrocketing. What we want to know is, where's the president? This is his hometown. Now, he's quick to comment on stories that gain him political points, but apparently this doesn't advance his narrative, and he's mostly silent. Why? Sheriff David Clark is here with reaction. Also, did you make tonight's Ask Sean question? Are you going to be on TV tonight? Straight ahead.